Podcast number 1. Getting started up.
A little bit that way? Yeah.
How's that? Okay. So let's get the mics going. Mic is green. Mic is green. Okay. So here we have podcast number 1 with the one and only my own brother, Paul Ayer. Goes by Polito in the family and always will. And anyways, we ended up meeting up here in Mexico and made our way over from central Mexico, Leon, Guanajuato, over to East Coast, Cancun, Cozumel, little island off the coast of Cancun. And I'm getting the podcast going. So podcast has been kind of behind the scenes in the works for about 6 months. And I always wanted to get my brother to be episode 1, right? But our timing is always hard to catch each other, right? So anyways, we'll get started. Paul, tell us a bit about yourself.
Paul Ayer, as you said, Polito for the family, and some close friends too. I'm 4 years older than Alex. I call him Aga, always will. And it wasn't until later that I realized that it actually stood for Alex Gabriel Ayer.
My initials,
So
yeah.
it made sense. I thought he just wanted us to call him that for shits, which would not be unlike him. Anyways,
Yeah,
I live in Montreal now. We spent our whole childhood together in Calgary. Super close as brothers.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of days together in and out of hospitals. I'm sure we'll get into that in different times.
Another episode.
Yeah. But every single day I'd go visit Alex in the hospital, so that just brings you closer than anything else could.
And I remember also back when you were getting your surgeries and stuff.
Yeah.
Your first, your benign tumor in the
Bone tumor, yeah.
Bone tumor, yeah. I remember that was pretty scary for the family. One of the first procedures I remember. So, But anyways, I want to kind of talk about family, dad. Obviously, our dad back a few years ago, our dad was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, early onset, and just kind of as kids growing up having to deal with that. So, what do you think changed from, because you knew dad obviously a lot before I did, before the sickness and everything, so what do you think was the biggest differences you noticed from before he was sick to that transition of him being sick?
So I was 15 when he got diagnosed, when we really started noticing like little changes, and you would have been 11. Pretty young.
We were both young.
Yeah. So I mean, before he got sick, he was like the quintessential father.
Yeah.
Like, just unreal.
Ripped.
Yeah, he'd show
Up at 4 in the morning.
He'd show us all up at the gym. He'd show our trainers up at the gym. We were always like super into athletics, but
He'd be in his suit at work and just drop down
do 100
push-ups for his
push-ups,
clients.
Yeah. He studied Spanish in Spain,
French
in France, yeah, and he practiced criminal law in 3 languages: Spanish, French, and English. Officially,
criminal defense, right?
Yeah, criminal defense attorney, and he also did a lot of immigration.
Yeah.
And he met our mom in Mazatlan, Mexico. She's still with us in our lives.
Yeah.
An amazing
Big
woman.
part of our lives.
Most amazing woman we'll ever know.
Yeah. She's a family doc.
Yeah, family physician. She was a pediatrician in Mexico, but when she moved to Canada, she had to redo med school basically and learn English at the same time. Yeah, incredible woman. And Anyways, yeah, our dad was unreal. He'd pick me up from school. He taught me to drive, shave. Not that I was shaving very much at 15. I know some people do, but
Yeah,
late for me.
some guys
Yeah,
genetically
like
feel like
grade 6, and I'm just like,
yes. Yeah.
yeah. And then after we started noticing that he was like forgetting names, forgetting things he had to do.
I remember one of the biggest ones was coffee in the microwave.
Yeah, coffee in the microwave. He was always a
Small things,
phenomenal
too.
driver. He had never been pulled over
Yeah.
for anything up until after he started getting some symptoms. Then he got pulled over for a U-turn thing. He fought it in court and won, obviously. But yeah, we started noticing that he was forgetting things that he shouldn't be forgetting, and it wasn't until later that we really started noticing some pretty serious differences. But we won't really get into that right now.
Yeah, no. But yeah, so anyways, that's been a big part of my life, and obviously I know that it's been a big part of yours. So it's in a way it's kind of formed who we are and the way that we view our
Absolutely, yeah. I
he's our role model, you know, and
yeah,
best friend, this kid. So
yeah.
it's tough losing someone that close to you, and especially
Even though he's still here physically,
yeah,
a lot of the days we do feel like we've lost him mentally, at least.
yeah, and that
Yeah.
also brings us a lot closer.
Yeah, it makes us grow so much as people. Honestly, like when you have someone in the family or someone you're close to that's going through whatever it is, like in our case, Alzheimer's, but
Could be
I classify it different when like someone has cancer. Obviously, it's just brutal for the family as well, but just different.
and no comparison.
Different. Yeah, I can't kind of compare them.
It's terrible. These things that can happen to people.
But yeah, definitely shaped us absolutely, and a lot of growing had to happen for me when I had to become more than just a brother to you, a
Yeah.
son to mom.
You have to become that father figure.
I had to step up in a lot of ways that personally I didn't think I was. Well, I definitely wasn't ready for, but you just had to make it happen.
Yeah. No other choice.
Yeah.
So we're gonna continue moving forward. Just lost a little bit of a video portion of the podcast, but it's a podcast for a reason. So, anyways, I wanted to ask you about your athletic story and just kind of where you've come and how you got into the sport. You're a figure skater, national figure skater for Canada, and I'd like to know what got you there. What started your sport career, and how are you at where you are now?
I mean, ever since we were kids, we were into absolutely
athletic.
every sport you could think of.
Yeah.
Our parents had us in everything, at least summer-wise. We didn't get into winter sports until later. Yes, soccer. We were huge into taekwondo. I started taekwondo when I was like 3, 4 years old. I competed internationally.
And you actually got up to which belt?
I got the black stripe.
Red
Yeah,
belt.
red belt, black stripe. But to do your black stripe, or sorry, to do your black belt test, it was a really big commitment, and I happened to have already started figure skating at that time, so I had to make a choice. But yeah, summer sports. We used to go to summer camps at COP, Canada Olympic Park, where they would just try absolutely every sport they could think of,
Right.
Olympic sports. And honestly, I got recruited by a couple sports to try and like go down that career path. But eventually, mom and dad said it's probably time you learn some winter sports.
Yeah.
I loved running. I thought I was going to go to the Olympics for running.
Yeah, you were doing always track, eh?
Yeah. No,
Or back compared to you and stuff.
yeah.
Cecilia, you'd kick ass in those
Yeah, the race at the end of the year. Absolutely.
end of the year races. Our grades used to do these.
Took it hard my first year at that school when I lost
Yeah.
to this kid named Austin.
Competitive, eh?
Yeah, he's a Portuguese kid. I'll never forget that loss.
Well,
Second.
just goes to show your competitive side. Eh?
Yeah.
Just being so young, getting pissed off for an easy loss. But the thing is the school was not a big school, but still a pretty big property, right? So what we would do is at the end of the year, the school would get every grade divided, and that whole grade would be
Do like a race at the end of like around the whole property.
exactly. And
They kind of like have a pacer, adult volunteer that kind of runs the first portion of it. And then after for like the last lap, I think they just like unleash it, and then it's a full on sprint.
And I remember always watching you at the end of the races.
Yeah, because I guess you would have been
I would have been
one of the younger grades.
Exactly. So
yeah, it's
I was
true.
watching you and just seeing you win, and then that kind of motivating me.
Yeah, and you would win too.
And then I'd win right after. Yeah. So it was pretty cool experience being in the same class or not class, but same school as.
Yeah, I love that.
And always, always with the ladies and all the friends and everything. You know, pretty popular duo when it came to other people.
Absolutely. So yeah, I then when mom and dad said to start winter sport, we go to the Glencoe Club. It's a sports club in Calgary,
Alberta. Yeah.
And they have a skating rink there. So mom and dad put us into skating lessons, both of us, around at the same time. I was about 9, almost 10 when I stepped foot on the ice for the first time.
Pretty late.
Yeah, super late, especially for any other like international competitor. The level I'm at started, and I started taekwondo at like 3 or 4 years old. Even like 7 years old is like kind of late for a skater to start figure skating, and I didn't start figure skating until I was 11. But yeah, so learned to skate in hockey skates. Yeah, both of us.
I think I did too. Yeah.
Yeah, and eventually. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know. I just remember that first ice time, lacing up and then getting out there. It almost felt kind of natural, but I remember you were the one that it really hit naturally because everyone was watching you like, who the hell is this guy?
I mean, yeah, I was well, not right at the start, but I was way older than anyone else starting to skate. You were like a prime age.
Pretty impressed with the way that you just picked it up.
I remember having my hockey equipment on like over my jeans. I think I had like shin pads on my jeans. Yeah.
Even late, like even when I was in Timbits, I started Timbits late. Like I started hockey at right age, but most kids had already been skating.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
and especially these guys in Canada. Like most of my friends that I have here that have played hockey, they started
As soon as you can walk, you're on skates.
exactly, and that's how life is in Canada. So I remember starting skates late, and Timbits is kind of like kindergarten of hockey, right? So
Yeah.
I joined a team back when already a few of the people had already been a full year on a team prior to that. So I remember just being kind of the underdog rookie guy, but I always had a pretty big build. So
Yeah.
it fit me, right? That's where it fit me. So what changed you from hockey? Because you played hockey for a few years prior to your skating career.
Actually, it was I started figure skating a year before I started playing hockey.
Right,
But
you were doing single.
yeah. So learning to skate, the coaches advanced us from different levels, right? And eventually started just teaching me some tricks, like do this jump. And I was like, oh, that's sick. Like, absolutely, like I'll try that. And then eventually one day my coach asked me to if I wanted to skate with a girl, and I was like, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I want to dance. I want to dance with a girl.
Oh,
And so then I teamed up with a girl named Taylor Yankee. Um, we skated together. Yeah, the Glencoe, she was a member as well. We skated together for I think 5 years. Did really well, and that kind of, I think our success was also like something that we got addicted to. So advancing, that's definitely something that helped me want to stay in the sport,
right.
being good at it. And then eventually, we went our separate ways, and three partners later, I ended my partnership.
Yeah, 3 partners.
Yeah, and I was doing tryouts for a year, twice actually, but this last year that I did a tryout for the years, I decided to team up with a girl named Alicia Fabry, who I'm still, yeah, still partners with her now. Actually, we're gonna be going to the Olympics in 2026.
Yeah,
Mark my words.
and you guys are a pretty fresh team compared to some other teams out there too, aren't you?
Yeah, you're right. We're one of the newest in the international Canadian circuit. Yeah. Most teams, I mean, if you look at the last Olympic gold medalists, they were together like 20 years, and then the ones before them also 20 years, and we're going on 5 years now. So yeah, Alicia's awesome, one of my best friends, and I look forward to seeing how her career progresses.
Where it can take you guys.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's pretty. Do you think that it's fair to say that you look at yourself and Alicia as kind of an underdog team, or how would you describe your guys' selves? One or two words in the grid, being on the international roster. Would you say, or
It's a good question. I'd say one word for sure would be powerhouse.
powerhouse?
I'm not sure if I can use the word underdog in international because being from Canada, one of the top countries in the world for the sport,
Exactly.
just by representing Canada internationally, that means you're already up there with at least the top half of the international circuit.
Right. Yeah,
But as far as the Canadian international field, I would say that we're not looked at yet as highly as we see ourselves and know where we can get to,
right.
and what we can make happen.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a good way to put it, bro. And tell us a little bit about your move from Alberta, Calgary, to Quebec and Montreal. Because you, once you partnered with with Alicia, you ended up heading out east.
Yeah,
Montreal.
moving
So
from
what was
Calgary.
it like for you? And you also joined a school, or explain that.
Yes, I moved from Calgary to Montreal. I'm not sure how old I was. I think I was about 19.
18 or something.
Yeah, 18, 19-ish.
Something
I
around
think maybe I was turning 20 soon. I can't remember.
Right.
But yeah, and I moved to her skating school where she had started ice dancing, and we spent about 1 year there. And within the first 4 months of teaming up, we got chosen to go internationally for Canada in junior.
Right.
And then
Where was that?
that was in Bratislava. You actually went to
I
it.
was there,
Yeah.
that was really exciting.
First international. My first international. Alicia had been very successful as an international skater prior to skating with me, but it was quick turnaround from starting to competing against the top in the world. And then we got selected for another Grand Prix junior, and that was in Slovenia. It's a beautiful city.
Yeah.
And then came nationals, where had to be in the top 2 in order to go to Junior Worlds. So we were competing against one of our other Canadian teammates who were from the school called Ayer, Ice Academy of Montreal.
Was this before?
This is before we moved there. Yeah,
you were competing against.
Yeah. We were still at our other school, and we managed to place second. And then we're chosen for Junior World Championships, where we finished 9th. I think it was 8 months into our partnership, and Raj and Zach, the only other Canadian team with us at the time, were 8 years into the partnership, maybe even 9 at that time.
So it just goes to show the difference between, chemistry and just the bond of a partnership.
Yeah, to be right up there with the top 10 in the world in junior.
Exactly. So fresh.
Within the first year together, yeah. Which kind of
is something to be proud of.
Yeah, definitely showed us that we were a special team, and
I think that's part of the reason why you call
have some potential.
Powerhouse.
Yeah. And then so after that season, actually, we did end up moving. We were accepted into the school of Ice Academy Montreal, and
Ice Academy of Montreal.
Yeah, Ice Academy Montreal. For those that don't know, it's the top ice dance school in the world.
Oh.
The last several world champs have been from that school, except for 1 year where it was Russian, also unreal skater. But yeah, so
and what do you think of the?
So we are now.
Yeah. What do you think of the school personally as a student? What's your opinion on that school as an athlete?
I mean, there's definitely no other school I would want to be at. The team of coaches is just.
I've met a few of them.
Yeah,
a few of them.
Yeah,
and they it's almost intimidating in a way, right? Like, I grew up kind of seeing a few of these faces on the television.
Yeah, with the top of the world, yeah,
and all that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, coming to see you skate.
Yeah, getting lessons from them.
Yeah, and you're right in there. And one of those big faces, big names was younger guy that I met, Scott Moyer.
Yeah. Olympic champ in 2010,
2-time Olympic,
2018.
His partner Tessa Virtue. I remember as kids always growing up watching them.
Yeah.
And obviously,
we watched that 2010
many coaches as well on the boards, on the side of the boards, coaching other teams, and now seeing you out there too, it makes me proud, bro. You know, in a way.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So that's cool. Yeah, and I feel like as an athlete, personally, it's a little easier for me to motivate myself to get to school, to get to class, and like, do you think that you learn something every day, or is it more of a slow learning process and time?
I think in an ideal world, you say you walk away and you say you learned something every day, and this is a productive day. I think realistically, it's hard to have every single day be like that. But I mean, as close as you can get to that is what every athlete strives for.
Right.
Which goes big into my mentality of trying to have every single day be productive. Otherwise, it's a day gone, a day wasted.
Exactly. Right, I agree. Well, cool, bro. Thanks for letting me know a little bit about the sport. We haven't really talked much about that.
One of the main thing for me, though, aside from the coaching, is actually the camaraderie with everybody, the entire team, family, if you will. They're all your competitors. You want to absolutely beat them. And I plan to beat every single one of my friends. Yeah. But you're on the ice. Yeah, you're on the ice and practicing, and you're like laughing, and you want them to be the best they can be, and I want to beat them at their best to prove that I am the best.
Yeah.
And so if that doesn't push you, I don't know. I don't know what does.
Right. Yeah, I agree, man. So, being your younger brother and just knowing you in general, not even having a familiar relation, but you are very focused on your personal mentality and your control of stress and your control of just your thoughts and the way that you kind of perceive things and act on your on what you're perceiving. So tell us a little bit why you believe your mentality is strong and what makes it stronger than what it was in the past.
I think I started younger than a lot of people with like mental training and things. Not actually not necessarily for sport. Back in the day, I would take a loss very hard. I mean, losing sucks, but it teaches you. Teaches you more than winning teaches you. And it my mentality, I think, would have started when I was in grade 6. A lot of people don't know this. We've not really talked about it too much, but we have had this conversation. I actually used to be suicidal in grade 6, young. I don't know what age that is. Pre 15, but like maybe 13ish.
And a bit about that was because
Of bullying. Yeah, I was bullied. The first year I started figure skating, so I would have been like 11, 12 around this time. So that was around grade 6. I had just moved schools to a new school, and leaving in Canada, in Alberta, you finish elementary in grade 6 and go to junior high. But
grade 7.
but there is a few schools that have some different things. So I left my elementary school a year early before elementary graduation in grade 5 and moved to a junior high that started in grade 6 till grade 9. So I skipped that whole graduating with your elementary class and all moving to the same school basically. So I went to a new school with
new kid.
yeah, with only one other kid changed with me to that other school, and he he was part of he played hockey, and I had not started to play hockey yet, or was just starting maybe that year, can't remember. But
Competitively hockey.
yeah, that was the first time I realized how big hockey was in Canada, because obviously I love the Flames. Go Flames, go!
Go Flames, baby.
But and I watched hockey my whole life growing up in Calgary, but never played, and I didn't realize because my school was a very, I don't know why, but a lot of soccer. We did not play. I had like maybe a handful of kids at that school that play hockey, which is very unusual for Canada. I mean, you went to school where like 99% of the kids play hockey.
Yeah. But 99% of kids at least own some skates.
Exactly. And yeah, so I didn't realize how big it was at that young age. And anyways, they very quickly, particularly the hockey guys, unfortunately, would start to. They found out quickly that I figure skated. The teachers would start to post things on the walls and everything, and that for them, because of their how they were brought up. I don't know if it was from their parents or the sport itself is very close-minded in that way at the moment. And so they would call me gay, faggot, homo. And at first, I had a pretty tough skin, and it's like, yeah, whatever. Like, I don't care what they think. And no, I'm not. And even if I was, who the fuck cares? It's none of their business, and you're allowed to be whatever you want to be. But as that went on, every single day, getting called names by maybe one person would call me name once, but then I'd have I don't know, 30 kids say something to me throughout the day. So that's getting told something 30 times. You very quickly realize you don't have many friends, and people would tell me just forget about the ball. Like it's no big deal. Stay strong, it'll pass. Anyways, so I decided that the days were so hard. I was crying myself to sleep. I didn't want to go to school. In skating, I didn't have many friends either because I was so young. sorry, I was so old for the level I was at. And the level I was at, because I started late, had young kids. So that definitely played into my mentality, feeling very alone. And obviously I had you as a close brother, but 4 years difference at that age. And then mom and dad were always on my side and amazing people. And they immediately, as soon as they found out that there was bullying going on, went to the principal. And at one point, I got some death threats. Actually, I got a few death threats, and we addressed that with the police immediately. But none of that made anything any better for me in class. So uh, at the time, it seemed like to not feel anything, to be dead, would be better than to feel these shitty feelings and feeling.
I'm assuming that that's what triggers your mental strength back then, at least.
Yeah,
That kind of
yeah.
brought something out of you that.
So I actually almost attempted once, and I went to mom and dad to tell them that what had just happened, and that was a shock for them. But immediately they got me to see a psychologist, and over the course of like a year and a half, I worked with her to develop tools and really hone my mentality to not allow things to get through to me as much, and realize that it's coming from whatever they're feeling, their insecurities. And I'd say it took about 2 years for me to go from, by the end of grade 8, I was pretty strong,
Yeah.
mentally speaking, and nobody could say anything that would get through to me and hurt me personally.
Yeah, I remember learning off of you in that sense, where you'd see me, we'd drive by and some guy would finger the car, and you'd see me kind of ball my fist up and kind of get angry about it just for nothing. Yeah. And you'd be like, Alice, man, like, just laugh at him, bro. Like, it's fine. And
yeah,
you taught those skills and like you said, tools. That's part of the reason why I asked the question, is because I think that a lot of people would benefit off growing their mentality into a sense of strength, and instead of kind of thinking themselves as a punching bag, or as it's okay for them to think like that. Like, it's not a sense of trying to change the way that they see you. It's trying to change the way that you feel under it.
Yeah, and you see yourself. And honestly, that's the most important thing. Now, and even at the start of grade 9, someone could say anything to me, and it wouldn't affect me in the slightest. And so that definitely transitioned into sport. That I decided that I wasn't going to be thrown by something mental, that I was stronger than that, and
come a long way.
Yeah, and obviously still a long ways to go. To get to, I want my mind to be bulletproof.
Yeah.
In every aspect. And then as far as stress goes, one thing that I saw when I was younger, always wanted to go to the Olympics, but one thing that really made me realize that stress is something that you can control and use to your advantage was I watched this little clip of some Olympics. Can't remember which Olympics it was, but there was this track and field girl at the Olympic Games in the middle of the stadium. And I don't know if you know what track. I mean, you do, but the viewers that don't know what track and field is like, you've got the track around the field, and you've got all the field sports going all at the same time. You've got the crowd going. It's a loud place. So much going on. You got you got people yelling.
Stadium.
And this athlete, I don't even know what sport she did, but she was sound asleep in the middle of the field at the Olympic Games. I've definitely mentioned this to you in the past, but that to me, when she was sleeping because she needed the sleep to perform at her best, I was like, damn, like that. If that doesn't show ability to control your stress to the point where you can sleep at the biggest stage of your life, then like I don't know what else is. So that's something I strive for and train myself for.
Mental control right there.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Cool, man. I think it's very, I think it's very important that people, people understand that this isn't just something that you hear about on social media or through a movie. These are things that people deal with
yeah.
daily,
Very real. Everyone has
and everyone has a
things.
story, right? Everyone's either been on either side of bullying, and I'd like this to be kind of a reflection for that, 'cause it's definitely something that I'm reflecting on now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, anyways, let's move through a couple topics here. I wanted to ask you personally. Obviously, our family, our mom and dad were always very supportive when it came to relationships and when it came to our sexuality and all of that. Being in I was danced as a kid and still dance, and I was always that little chubby little kid in the club with mom and dad and always dancing with the older women, right?
Absolutely.
And mom and dad were always really open about. They always wanted us to be open about our sexuality, and I'm pretty
Yeah, yeah.
pretty developed in that sense now, and I want to know your opinion um, on your open sexuality and kind of the way that you view relationships, or for example, um, the needing to date or having to marry before having sex, or that there's a saying, no sex till the third date, or I heard recently
That's
say
true.
date means dick at the end, which also kind of made me laugh. Yeah, just what's your opinion on?
Definitely started from young age, like thinking about how I wanted to uh, grow up in a sexual way. Like I loved women from a young age.
Yeah.
Too very very young. But one thing mom and dad did for us that I absolutely loved, and I'm definitely going to pass on to my kids is to assure everyone that there's no shame in sex. Absolutely no shame in sex, and I think especially in North American societies, it's viewed with a almost taboo in a lot of ways, whether that be from religion or from family history or for whatever reason. I think the more we talk about sex openly, the better. And yeah, the better sex will be for everyone, and that's honestly what everyone wants.
Like, we're at the end of the day, we're human,
Yeah,
and we're part beast, we're part animal, and
and
part of our nature
yeah,
to reproduce, right?
I think the school system and how it teaches sexuality has got a long way to go.
Yes.
It did absolutely nothing for me personally. Nothing compared to like what mom and dad taught
I
us.
can agree with that, and I'm sure many people could.
Yeah, and I mean they don't even teach pleasing
No,
in sex ed, and definitely don't teach pleasing women. That's for sure. So you got the
and it's so normalized, like the guy finishing,
yeah,
and where's, like, I think
and
a
then
lot
it's
of
done.
men,
And it's over.
I think a lot of men kind of black in the department of realizing that this, this is a both way thing, right? If I'm being benefited, I personally, I find most benefit when she's, feeling.
Yeah, I mean I take pleasure in pleasing as well.
And that's part of it for me, is that it's,
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's your take on the dating prior to, intercourse, and how about shotgun weddings, like having a baby before being married? Or I'm sure that's more of a religious thing, but what's your
Yeah,
opinion on that?
yeah,
I'll get into religion on another episode, but
yeah. I mean I've got
start with that.
love this topic about having to date someone before you're allowed to have sex because of whatever. I think that would probably come from society and how society views sex, particularly on the woman's side. That if you have sex with multiple partners, you become, you're all of a sudden the sluts or whatever.
Yeah.
And but then if a guy does, then you like, yeah, nice on you, bro. Like good for you. But honestly, like good for everyone that's getting sex. Like,
Yeah.
um, but as far as the dating thing, I completely disagree with with needing to date someone before having sex.
Yeah.
Just solely because I mean, it would take an asshole to do this, but there are assholes around. I mean, if you want to date before having sex, all right, will you be my girlfriend? And then they said, oh my God, yeah, he asked me to be his girlfriend. Like, of course, like, why wouldn't I? And then, okay, sweet, let's have sex now. And then you have sex, and then you're like, yeah, well, now I'm done. Like, let's break up. Like, what was the point of that relationship? It was useless.
Yeah.
And only to satisfy the need to date. Like that's the just just because you want the title of having a boyfriend, like wouldn't it have been better to have made a real connection, or well, fuck the connection, or just have like good sex and then end on good terms, be done. Then like yeah, that was awesome, high five, like let's go. You enjoyed yourself, I enjoyed myself. Like let's do it again sometime, or let's not. But like,
Sorry, what was your name?
really,
No, I'm kidding.
and then
Yeah, bro.
and then that's done. But the other way around, when you just dump the girl or dump the guy right after that, because it's like what was the point? It was just a waste of time, in my opinion.
I agree. And energy.
Yeah,
Waste of
time and energy.
I always had not an argument when it came to the girls about that, but um, not an argument, but kind of just my take on that was more of the approach. How do I know? How do I know that I want to be your boyfriend if I haven't experienced our full relationship? Part of our relationship is the sexual side of it. And if I'm going to commit to you, I'm going to commit to whether it's polyamorous or whatever it is. I'd like to explore that side, because what happens if it's not just me that doesn't like something? What about you? What happens if you don't like that the way that I feel, or that
There's something you do. Yeah, absolutely. Communication is honestly the key
that's
to
number one.
so many aspects, but especially sexuality. Yeah.
What's so last thing about the sexual, until next episode, obviously. What's your if you could give advice to young men, young virgin men, or not even virgin men, but young men that are exploring this side of their sexuality, what would you say to them as a general kind of practice for them to go and on their approach to women, when it comes to the respect thing, when it comes to the treating them properly, and then vice versa for women to treat us properly as well. But
Yeah.
this, and specifically,
This is a question for the men.
exactly, yeah.
I'd say my top thing would be, you're not entitled to sex just because you're a man and you took a girl on a date, or you're taking a girl out. You're not entitled to sex. Like
That's definitely something that's been,
that's an issue in society to this world, and all around the world, honestly. Like guys, and they'll go on a date with someone, and then even this is for a different day, but the whole paying thing as well.
right.
If you pay for dinner, like now a lot of guys feel like the girl owes them now. And like, so, but you paid, so like, what are you gonna do? I mean, I paid for dinner. You better do something sexually to please me. Like that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Yes, I'd say that you're not entitled to sex, and respect the woman. Like treat her like you would want your mom to be treated. Like you don't want some guy just fucking, oh, I did a nice thing, I paid for your coffee for your mom, now like you better fucking suck my dick. Like that's it's terrible. Like that's,
and there is a lot of men out there, and that probably will never change, and that's that's sad,
but but it's reality. And if I could give one tip though, as far as that, I would say to ask your girl what she likes. And trust me when I say this, a lot of girls won't actually know themselves. That'll be maybe the first time they'll be asked that question, whether they're 18 years old or whether they're 60 years old. And it'll be the first time they've ever been asked that question is, how can I please you? Do you like that? Do you not like this? If they don't know, if they can't tell you, then try certain things until they tell you. But open that communication. They're not going to open it up. If they do, good for them. But take it in your hands.
It's usually gotta be you and that, bring that out of that.
Exactly. Talk about it.
Keep it mutual. Tell her maybe.
Yeah. And then know this. Guys are so easy to please. Like, I mean, I know because of my own body personally that it's just you do one motion and then one motion for a certain speed and certain
amount of time.
And you're done. Boom, easy. Wow.
Sometimes it's a lot quicker than you'd expect.
That was my best hand in my life.
Yeah.
Jeez. But then when it comes to women, there's so many different aspects for the female body.
Yeah.
They've got. I mean, if I'm gonna get into it just quickly, there's different size clits. You got big, small, medium. Then you've got people that like in penetration over clitoral stimulation.
Yeah.
Then you've got clits not only the sizes, but you've got the sensitivity, medium, high sensitive, and low sensitive. So
some are more hidden than others.
Exactly.
Colors are different. Taste.
You got to do so many. There's so many different options that are
kind of just.
It's crazy. Exactly, but every single woman is different in that aspect, and
that's what makes life exciting.
Yeah, and you're not
part of life.
You can't be an expert in all women if all women are different. Yeah. You gotta become an expert in knowing how to please different women,
right?
In how to find out what it is that makes them tick, what it is they like and don't like.
Yeah.
That is what you have to become,
and being a sponge,
an expert for. Exactly.
Learning from every single situation.
And throw that ego away.
Yeah.
If a girl doesn't want to sleep with you, then you know what? That's okay. It's her loss. It's her choice. Yeah. It wasn't meant to be.
Right. Right. So, anyways, we're gonna wrap up the first episode here, but I want to ask a question that I'll be asking all my guests is all our guests is let's say hypothetically you were going to go under surgery and you only had up to 5 sentences to tell yourself, to write yourself. So when you'd wake up from surgery, you'd read these up to 5 sentences for you to really move on through life.
Yeah.
Let's say you wake up with no prior memory. All you have to work with is these 5 sentences. And it doesn't have to be 5. It could be 1. It could be 3. It could be 5. You fresh start of life, but you have a pen and paper to write down what you're going to wake up to move forward with life. What is your page look like?
What am I? Yeah, that's an unbelievable question. It's like,
yeah, think, bro.
That I've never heard that question before, but
yeah,
but that really makes you think.
It does, and obviously next time you'll be asked this as well. So if you only think of and I'm putting you on the spot here with this, but
one thing I really like about this question is that I'm not gonna want to know everything when I wake up. I'm gonna want to know some certain things, and I'll tell you in a second. But but the fact that it gives you an opportunity to wake up like a baby, but at an older age, like that's so cool. Yeah, just imagine the possibilities of how you can view the world in a new way when you have no memory of anything. Everything is new to you. You're seeing movies for the first time in your life. You're hearing music. You're looking at the ocean for the first time. Here we are looking at the ocean.
Yeah, at the sunset right now.
Absolutely incredible. And I can't even tell you how many times I've seen it.
Yeah, and every time it's like seeing it for the first time.
Exactly. It's seeing the colors, music, dancing, women, like just. So I think first sentence I would put would absolutely be older brother to Alex, son to Paul and Diana, mom and dad, and mom, you were doctor, dad, lawyer, Alzheimer's, doesn't remember me. That would probably be my first question, just so I remember who the most important people in my life are. Right off the bat,
for sure.
And then next would be sport. I would want to write down Alicia's name, as she's my skating partner and also another important person in my life. I would write down Alicia's name, but I would not write down what sport I do. I would write down next to Alicia's name, I would put her name in brackets, and then I would put you are an athlete, try all sports. Just because I'm curious as to like what when I wake up without a memory.
What are you
like,
driven to?
Yeah,
What draws you in?
what excites me? What sport makes me want to try it?
Right.
And they'll all be like brand new. Maybe skating won't be it. I mean, I hope so. I absolutely love that sport.
Yeah, me too.
And that's why I would put Elise's name there, just in case, for whatever reason. Figure skating, I would definitely look up who this Alicia girl is, and then realize who she was to me, who she is to me, and obviously hope to pursue that as well. So that would be my second thing. And
Can you think of a third? This is so usually I would have this question prior to the interview because I'd like you to actually come with a
that'd be good. Yeah.
So for next time, obviously, I'll be a little more prepared. But
I'd love to like think about this because of the languages. I mean, I speak 3 languages: Spanish, French, and English fluently, as do you. But also learning Italian and German. So, like, would I wake up with?
And you're currently learning Italian.
Yeah. Would I wake up with those with the knowledge of those languages, or were those languages gone? I don't know. If let's say they're gone, I would absolutely write down learn languages. And again, I would not say what languages. I would just leave it up to my future self to choose the ones that interest me.
Yeah, very interesting.
For now, I'll cap it off at those three. Can't think of anything at the moment, but
yeah. Well, thank you, bro.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Agra.
Yeah, bro. So yeah, I just wanted to finish off with thank you, and obviously I'll get a good picture of the sunset for the end of the video here, and next time we'll have the full video for the audio.
And who knows what other country that'll be in?
Yeah, and who knows what we'll be looking at. So, anyways, bro,
thanks for having me.
Yeah, let's get it done. Amo, bro.
So just finished podcast episode 001.